Ooh, that looks tasty.
I will not be cancelling Christmas because of some little alien invasion. It would be inhuman to cancel Christmas. After taking scientific advice, I have now decided that it is in the nation's best interest to cancel Christmas.
Welcome, folks, to The Hungry Gamer is back with another game review, and today we are talking about Under Falling Skies, designed by Thomas Uhler, published by Czech Games Edition, with art by Kwanchai Maria and Peter Bohacek, and I do apologize if I said any of those names incorrectly. Please make sure you turn on your Klingon subtitles, because if I make any errors, that's where you'll find the corrections. Additionally, thank you to Mark Dainty of Not Board Gaming for helping out with today's voiceover introduction. And so, let's talk about this game. And if you're wondering if the game is on its side, it is. That's because this is a very long game that actually plays vertically, and well, most cameras just aren't designed to shoot that way, so I guess I could have rotated everything like this, and maybe we'll try it like that for just a little bit. Or maybe we'll bring it back like this. I'm not really sure. We'll see what happens as I'm editing this, but not the point. So what Under Falling Skies is it is kind of a mashup of Independence Day meets Space Invaders. And yeah, I think that's pretty much the best way I can describe it. And whether you are playing the standalone one-off game or the legacy campaign mode, the game works the same, just with, well, I'll talk about the kinds of variants that you can get as you go through. Do not worry, there will be absolutely no spoilers in this. Everything you see here is just the basic game, standalone game, so there's absolutely nothing spoiled here. And I will just make sure that I point out that both the legacy version and everything that you see here is included in the base box. And really, I don't think it's all that expensive. I can't quite remember. Maybe Mark Dainty can help me out right over here.
Which is just about 20 quid.
Ah, thanks. I appreciate that. If I forget, I'll come back to you later, Mark. Now, if you are not interested in how this game is played, just want to jump into my final thoughts, then you want to go to the timestamp on the screen right now. For those of us still here, let's talk about how this game is played. What you see here is we have the alien mothership all the way up here, and in fact, it's even a little bit off the board. Right here, the alien mothership with the little fighters that are swarming out of the ship, coming down onto Roswell, New Mexico there, and you'll see this will be sliding up and down the board as we play through the game. To win the game, you're trying to advance your research track all the way up here to the top. If you can get there before your base has been destroyed by taking enough damage that this falls all the way down to the bottom right here, or before the mothership comes all the way down to the red skull right there. If you can do that, you will win. If you can't do that before one of these happens, then you will lose and die a probably very fast, painless death. Now, before I tell you how you actually advance this track, let's talk a little bit about what the bad guys are going to be doing. It's pretty simple. The bad guys, they're going to be having ships flying out, flying down, and every time they get down here, your base will take damage and they'll come back to the ship. Every now and then something will happen and one of these clear white ones will come out, and they operate exactly the same, except if you blow these up, I'll tell you how you blow them in a minute, they just go off the board, while if you blow the purple ones up, they just reset back up into the ship. As you go down on the side, you'll see there are these marks over here, and every time the mothership gets to one of those, something will happen. It might take your excavator down in your base and knock it back a bit. It might make your research drop back. It might, if you come here, add a white ship to the mothership to come out, and so on and so on. Now, and before I talk about how it is you're actually going to stop the aliens, I will also point out that the game does come with a whole host of different things that you can do to up the difficulty. This is the easiest setting, but all of these tiles you can flip over. If you flip it over to the side with all the alien blood on it, it's just a little bit harder. It changes what's on here, it changes the values on the sides of the tracks, and depending on which ones you flip, that will adjust the difficulty as you go. I'll also say that Roswell here has no special ability, but a lot of the cities that you can play, and this DC is not part of the campaign, it's just in the base game, have special abilities that you're able to use to make the game a little bit easier. But let's talk about what you are actually going to be doing during the game. Now, so what's going to happen is, on your turn, you're going to roll your dice. And you'll see there are gray and white dice, and I'll talk about those as we go. So what's going to happen is you're going to be placing one die in each of these 6 columns. You can never place more than one die in a column, and you must use all of your dice every round. You'll also note that there is this little orange digger doohickey dude here, and this is your excavator. You are only allowed to use rooms that have been dug out. So at the start of the game, you can only use these anti-aircraft guns here and these 4 rooms. But as you go, you can always take a die and place it out in front of the excavator. And you can only place it as far out as the number would allow. So the 6 here, I could go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I could place it right there if I wanted. You'll also notice that there are these little lightning bolts on here. That's how much energy it costs to do anything. It costs 1 energy to move the excavator. You'll see the little symbol on there. This room here, which is research, that costs 1 energy, that costs 2 energy, and you're getting your energy by placing dice in these yellow spaces. If this room was unlocked, like so, and I put the 6 here, that would earn me 6 energy when it comes time to actually play my different rooms. Green rooms here, you're going to use the number that you rolled to up your research track. And if you remember, your research track goes all the way along the left side of the board. And to move up, you simply have to have the amount of research that's on the number. So to move from here to here, I need 1 research. To move from here to here, I would need 4 research, 1, then 3. So if I were to place my 6 right here on this one, you'll see it has a -1. That means it's the value -1. So I can move up 5 points of research. That would take it from here all the way up to here. It wouldn't get me there because I would need a total of 6 to get there. Now that is relatively simple, as are these fighter jet rooms. That's where you're scrambling fighters and you're sending Will Smith out to do your dirty work for you. And so as you put those in, what's going to be happening is you'll be using, again, the number on the die, and that's going to determine which of the explosion spots you actually have hit. So we'll take a look here. You'll see I put a 4 onto that space. So that would cost me 1 energy, and you'll also notice it says -1 next to it. So that means this die is operating at a 3. I would pay my 1 energy, and then I would be able to blow up any fighter that was on an explosion that was a 3 or less. So if I had this here and this here, I would have blown this one up, and the other 2 would stay out there. Now, that's pretty much all of the different spaces that you have. There are, in some of the other cities that you can go, there are rooms that are these blue rooms here, and by putting a die in those, you're going to be able to build a robot. You'll be able to take a robot, you'll put a robot in another room somewhere at the end of your turn. Then every turn you can activate the robot, and its value goes down 1, but it will activate the room that the robot is in. But that's all the different kinds of rooms that there are in the base game. You'll see there's some that are bigger, in which case you have to actually fill the room all the way up, but you get to add up all of your dice, and so on and so on and so on. Now, that sounds pretty darn easy. And if that was all there was to it, it would be pretty darn easy. But if you remember, I said that these alien ships are going to be coming down at you every single turn, and they are coming fast. Because what's going to happen is every single time you place a die, whatever alien ship is in that same column, and there may be more than one, those alien ships are going to descend closer. How far? Whatever number you rolled. So that means if I was going to try to be clever and blow up everything that's on all these spaces here, well, I have to judge how far these things are going to move. So if I want to blow up everything, I got to get a 6 or more. That's great. And then, oh my gosh, I blew up 1, 2, 3, 4. That looks great, except that's not what happens, because the second I put this down, everything in that column moves. So I put a 6 here, and then suddenly 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, boom, 6. It just hit Roswell. And then it would go back up to the mothership at the top to be respawned next turn. Then, of course, as I'm putting other things out, the other ones are going to move as well. So if I then put out this 4 later, I'm going to try to get some energy. Well, now I've moved this one too. 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, that's good. It wound up back on a 4. But then maybe I put a 3 over here, and then we have 1, 2, 3. Nothing. 1, 2, 3, and then 1, 2, 3 as well. And then suddenly, a whole bunch that were on the explosions are not there anymore. And unlucky me, I landed on this, so the mothership's going to come down 1 more space closer. And so it's not just a dice placement puzzle, it is this spatial puzzle, and you're trying to figure out best use of the dice as far as what's going to get you what you need, but you also are timing it out based on what the placement of those dice is going to do to the ships up there. But wait, there's more. How can that be possible, you say, for a game that costs, oh gosh, how much does it cost, Mark?
A £20 solo game.
Every time you place one of your white dice, you gotta re-roll all your other dice. So you might have the perfect plan, but you have to start out using the white die, whatever it is, then you're re-rolling everything else, and now everything has changed. And so you get the idea. Now, I'm not going to show you any of the Legacy campaign because, well, I don't want to spoil anything. Other than I'll say that it sees you going through a series of battles in different cities, and you get to choose which city that you go to, and there's some randomization that lets you kind of go back and replay them over and over. And as you go through, the things that you do have lasting effects on what happens later in the campaign, and it is all completely resettable because the only thing that you're doing is you're sorting different pieces into different piles that you've used and you haven't used, and then you're tracking it all on a pad that comes with the game. Now, what do I like about this game? First of all, there's something delightful about the nostalgic value of this Space Invaders feel and the nostalgic value of Independence Day that you get from this game. And I am old enough that I saw Independence Day in the theater, and it was fantastic. And there was something amazingly, amazingly fun about that movie, and it holds a special place in my heart. And now here I get to play with it here, and I'm also old enough that I remember playing Space Invaders in a pizza parlor on a stand-up arcade machine. It just hits all those nostalgia buttons for me, but then it ties into that this dice placement puzzle at the bottom, which is hard. Holy smoke. I know I have not finished the campaign. I've played through a portion of it. I don't even want to give away my percentage because then you might think, oh, well, that means there's this much. Nope, not even going to tell you that. I played through a portion of it. I'm not done yet. And I'm playing on easy. And I still am losing a good percentage of the time. And I think for a solo game, that's where it should be. It should be a challenge. And then when I finally master it, it's so easy to make it harder by just doink, flipping something over or flipping more than one thing over. And that is just awesome. The dice placement puzzle is really fun. It's a lot to think about. And the added challenge of every time you put a die that is going to lead to your demise is a whole bunch of fun. It is that classic thing that I like in dice placement games where there is a penalty for using the more powerful die in some way. So, for example, this one, well, you put out the 6, well, those things are coming down a lot faster and they're going to hit your base sooner. And I just really, really enjoy that. But really, I think the most impressive thing, this is something that a lot of reviewers have already said about this game, is that it's a lot in a pretty small package for not a lot of money. And gosh, I can't remember how much it costs. Mark?
It's a £20 game, for Christ's sake.
So all of that, I just find almost dumbfounding that a game that seems so simple is such a delightful, fun, fast puzzle. Because this game plays fast. Once you know how to play, it takes 20 minutes, maybe. And I was playing earlier today through the campaign a little bit, and I went through 4 games in the campaign in under an hour. And how many games that have a campaign can you say that you can do that? That is just awesome. And then on top of all of that, I like the way it looks. It's colorful, it's bright enough, it looks good. These little spaceship things are very, very cool. They're fun. I mean, they're a little dangerous. Don't drop these on the floor if you have carpet. This will be about as bad as Legos if you do that. But it's just a really well done game. So, what are my quibbles about the game? And I don't have too many because I do feel like I do need to take into account the price point on this game, because remember, this is a game that's only
For the price point of £20.
and so the fact that there is not perhaps unlimited replay value in this game is probably okay because you're not paying a lot. And I have already played this game 12, 14, 15 times, and I haven't even scratched the surface of what could be in this game as I go through the campaign and kind of unlock those things to play with later. But eventually, I'm sure I will feel like I have covered all of it. And so that is something just to kind of keep in mind. This is not an unlimited replay game, but you do get a lot of replay for the price point of this game.
A box that costs barely £20.
My next quibble with the game is it's hard. I already mentioned that. It is a hard game. And so if you're someone that likes to be able to put a game on easy and it is easy, well, this might not be the game for you. And then my last quibble with it is it's kind of awkward to play. And I mean, it's awkward to play just for the same reason that I showed you at the beginning, because I had everything going out horizontally instead of vertically to fit in my shot. It kind of fills up the whole table, and it's just very, very long. It's not so long you can't reach, but it is long. It is kind of an awkward shape. And so if you only have a limited amount of playing space, you might find yourself playing this one on the floor or something like that. But really, that's it. I have to say that this is a shockingly fun game. And I say shockingly, not because I'm shocked that CGE put out a fun game, or not that I'm shocked that a game that started as a free print and play is such a good game, because that's not it. It's shocking to me that it's such a good game because I tried this a few years ago at Origins and I left completely whelmed. And I was like, oh, that's an interesting puzzle. Okay. And then I pretty much forgot about it. But since then, there have been I guess there's just been some subtle changes that have gone through it. And most importantly, they added this campaign element. And this campaign element is just so fun to me. The variety that it adds to a game that already has a pretty solid amount of variety is just a lot of fun. And the fact that they added that in, again, for
£21 or £21.
As you can tell, I'm sending Mark up a little bit here because you see every single one of those is I pulled straight from his video because that's how many times he actually talked about the price point of this game. But he does have a point that the fact that you're getting a legacy campaign for this price is amazing to me. And a legacy campaign game that you can reset and you will still get enjoyment out of and is solo, I think is a pretty rare thing. I'm just really impressed with this one because it is a game that really does hit on a lot of notes for me. It's got dice placement, it's got rolling dice, it's got danger with aliens and adventure, and it's got asynchronous powers because every city is just ever so slightly different and it does something different. And it just hits on so many different notes. If you like solo games at all and you like dice placement, then I think this is one that really is really worth taking a flyer on. And I have to say that this is a game that did not qualify for my Game of the Year award, my top 5. And that's simply because it was still kind of going out. It released very close to my cutoff, and I actually did not get it in my hands until after I had already done my shut off. But I will say that it really might have been in my top 5. It would have been very, very close. And it certainly is at the moment in the running to be in my top 5 of 2021. Will it last? I have no idea. But I will say this is a fun game. It is a hard game. It is a very delightful puzzle. And if you like solo games and you like dice placement, do yourself the favor, grab a copy, take a flyer on it, because as Mark Dainty so delightfully put it, it is only
The princely sum of £21.
So there you go, folks. That is Under Falling Skies. If I made any mistakes in the rules explanation, please let me know in the comments with the timestamp. I'll get that into the Klingon subtitles. Really, I'm pretty high on this game. This is a very good game, and this is one that potentially, as I finish the campaign, might even upgrade to great, in my opinion. As always, if you found this video useful, please like, subscribe, and share. Thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful, wonderful day.